because of television. It's getting to be pretty scary out there when you talk to these young people now. It's almost as if they're a different species. And I just wonder how they're going to integrate into this new paradigm which is coming, such as it is. Anyway, be right back with Clif in just a minute. Hi, back with Clif. Hi. The ever-disintegrating fiber of what's left of this society is a source of never-ending grief to many of us who still care about what we used to have and what has been largely lost. Is it something that can be rehabilitated? I don't think so. Not given the current dumbed-down school system, the government programs they're in, and the entire media culture. Here's we've seen this before, Clif. It's just a little kind of a man-on-the-street thing, asking Americans about basic questions. The first question, if you miss it, is, who is Britney Spears' ex-husband? Just check this out.
Who's Britney Spears' ex-husband?
Kevin Federline.
Kevin Federline.
Kevin Federline.
K-Fed.
The two teams that just played in the Super Bowl recently.
The Steelers and the Cardinals.
Steelers and the Cardinals.
Yeah. All right. What is the Bill of Rights?
Oh, it's
The Bill of
Oh, I know what you're doing. I know what the Bill of Rights is. It's
What are the Bill of Rights?
I don't know. Freedom of speech.
Oh, wait.
Freedom isn't there
You're allowed to bear arms. And it's like we learned in politics, but I wasn't really listening.
What is the Bilderberg Group?
Huh?
What now? No idea.
Not a clue. What now?
Bilderberg Group? Bilderberg Group, yeah.
Don't know anything about the Bilderberg Group.
The what?
The what?
The Bilderberg Group.
Bilderberg? No.
Wait, what is it?
The Bilderberg Group.
Bilderberg, no.
They build birds.
No, they don't build bergs, no. So, the Bilderberg Group is a group of some of the most powerful people in the world in business, politics, media, some of the most wealthiest people. They gather once a year in a five-star hotel somewhere in the world, once in the United States and once somewhere else, and they actually get together and discuss foreign policy, and they change the direction of the world. Bill Clinton has been to the Bilderberg meetings, so has Hillary Clinton while she was running for president. Barack Obama has been there. And what they do is when they get together, they start discussing things, and it's in private. I think it's being guarded by a bunch of military. No one's allowed to report. The media is allowed in to discuss, but they're not allowed to report what comes out. And that's what really discusses our foreign policy. What do you guys think about that?
It's horrible.
I mean, how do you feel about these people behind closed doors meeting with media, corporations, banks, deciding policy in secret without even the mainstream media talking about it? How do you feel as citizens of England about this?
Neglected.
I'm not awful.
Yeah.
No, I do think that's awful.
The bastards.
They should inform us with what's going on.
Because we actually have a right to now.
I mean, we chose it.
Well, there they go. We have rights, but they don't know what those rights are. So, I mean,
but it's one of those issues where every few generations you have to go through a transformative period, and we're there now.
Right.
And it's quite true. Your emotional response to the conditions and the definitive feeling of loss relative to the former society that the United States used to be.
They don't understand what we had. They don't even understand our value references, our framework of moral behavior, our expectations of responsibility, of accountability, of they feel somehow entitled. I don't know where that came from, but they do.
In a situation that we're facing at the moment, though, not only is this a relatively minor conditional problem, but it's also one of those where we have to get ourselves accustomed to the idea that what is lost and is not recoverable.
It's gone. No, you're right, and I totally concur.
And attempting to I mean, this is a nice little exercise, and especially in terms of the emotional embarrassment that you see coming through in terms of them recognizing their own ignorance about these things. But the American Revolution, for instance, which is probably still ongoing, or the initial phase of it in the 1700s, was conducted when only 3% of the populace was involved. 97% of the populace of the country at the time did not care, didn't really wish to be involved in that. Yet it went from 1% considering the idea to 2% actively working on it to 3% involved. And then we effectively had won at that stage the initial phase of the American Revolution. So this current generation is going to have to go through their own form of that as part of this transformation. I don't know what we'll end up with.
I was going to ask that. What are we transforming to?
That's a little bit beyond the realm of our data, our initial
there's
data.
there's no intellectual bedrock for these people to find themselves and acquire a reference point, a GPS point, if you will, to pull themselves back to anything we recognize.
They're never going to go back, and it's a waste of our time to consider that they'll attempt to pull back. They're going to end up having a large loss and a transformative experience, and they will reshape the future into something that is new. And that we older creatures here may feel the loss of the foundation from which we came, but whatever the transformation goes through is going to be appropriate to the time. That's just the way the time works.
Right.
It won't be America as we knew it. And the idea that we'll go back to a constitutional republic.
No. People keep talking that game, and they're utterly disconnected from reality.
Yeah,
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. We've reached globalism. There's a sufficiency of populace. If we lose a large section of that populace, we break down to a lower level of the carry state. That is to say, how many people can the planet support with X amount of technology?
Right.
And then we're also facing some of the most dire environmental conditions from a galactic viewpoint that humans have ever encountered, that we're aware of.
Right.
But certainly the ending of a 62 million year cycle and a 26 million year cycle, those are putting extreme pressure on all of the planets, and we're going to have, from our viewpoint, within our data, the single largest entity we've seen since 1997, and it continues to grow, is that which represents humans' home, which is the planet Earth, or as we call it, the Terra entity. And it continues to grow at a faster rate proportionately than all the other entities, also suggesting that real soon the main worries that we'll have will be environmental. That is to say, the collapse of the biosphere.
Well, they already are mine, yeah.
Yeah, the ability to produce food and all of this kind of thing. That is my chief worry. I spent several hours a day over the past couple of weeks of my little mini vacation here while we're doing data gathering. I don't really do much, so I go on out and try and repair some of my infrastructure, and I got my grow dome back up. And I'm
freezing a lot of pies, are you?
I'm getting ready to, yes, indeed. Getting ready to take care of all of that, getting set for food preservation and food production.
You people who haven't gotten any food, and probably, unfortunately, the majority of you scrape together $1,000. You can buy a year's supply of food for two people for $1,000. That's 3 meals a day. You want to go to 2 meals a day, you can buy a year's supply of food for 3 people. You know, it's not the best food in the world, but it'll keep you alive. I mean, it's commercial factory farm stuff, which I don't particularly like, but you got to have something. There's
also the get real about knowledge. There is a wealth of books out there telling you how to eat essentially free food in the form of native plants growing in your particular area.
Do you see any?
This is what happened to the Cretians, for instance, and the people in Greece in World War II. The Germans came in, invaded, took all the food sources. They lost a quarter of their population over the course of nearly 22 months. Those that survived did so by turning to local native plants, and they became some of the healthiest people around. So there is some opportunity in the horrors of what we're going to be facing here, but we have to be very realistic about it. And that's why it's lamentable that the American Constitutional Republic has gone, but it was converted into the American Empire being run by the Bilderbergers sometime in the course of the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Right. And so it was technically lost then, I think. And in my generation, I've never known anything other than the Bilderberger organization's control of what's going on. So in that sense, hey, I'm glad to see the American Empire die. We've killed far too many people for no damn good reason.
I really don't find there ever is a good reason to kill people, but you're quite right. There's no reason to kill people. We've got a long way to go to get away from that. The average young person now, I think, sees, 15,000 murders or something by the time they're 16 or 17 on TV and in the movies, and hundreds of thousands of injuries. I'm very careful to screen the images that I let come into my brain.
Once they go in there, folks, you don't get them out.
they're
Yeah,
there.
and it's very easy to manipulate people with their preset series of images and context. We're finding a lot of that sort of information available in the work we see.
One supertanker on the Strait of Hormuz, and oil goes up to $150, $200 a barrel. Gasoline here can go up within a couple of months or less to $5, $6, $7 a gallon. Everything stops. A lot of farmers are not going to plant this spring because the price of their crop is now less by a substantial margin than what it costs to actually put it in the ground.
Well, they're also facing huge weather issues this spring as well.
Yeah. So it's when we talk about food, we're not joking.
No, the fisheries are dying globally.
Yeah.
We won't see canned commercial products. I don't know what restaurants that focus on seafood are going to do.
Yeah, no more dioxin burgers and or broiled dioxin fillet. It's not good, and I don't know. War on Iran? Do we see it?
Yeah.
Are the Israelis going to go ahead and
There's a rising amount of emotional outburst towards that, but I don't have any clear understanding of something on the other side of it. So we find much more risk, for instance, for conflict from centering on Pakistan than we do on Iran at the moment. But even so, the geopolitical situation is going to be quite dire. The collapse of the dollar cannot be minimized in its global implications. That's why we've changed recently from calling what we had been calling it as a period of revolution, starting in pretty much fall of 2009. And now we're really thinking of it as a global social discontinuity, something that makes revolution pale by the scope of what's going to occur.
It's the fragmenting of the whole global matrix.
Yes,
At least at the mid and lower levels.
And as a result of economic as well as tariff changes and other problems all put together, so that's the whole pressure cooker effect.
Well, and that's this summer.
No, the nasty bits begin November.
Okay. 6 to 9 months or so.
Yeah, summer's going to be bad, but we'll still have some level of continuity, but November and onward gets really nasty.
Thank you, Clif, as always.
Talk to you next month.
Okay, take care. Mr. Clif High, halfpasthuman.com. Talking to George Ewer tomorrow night, his partner. Look forward to that and much more. See you in 21 hours.